Hey everyone, it's Tara. Welcome to my channel. So today I'm going to be doing a recommendations video. This one is going to be books that have business rivals. So I've been reading a few books that have like shops, whether that's food related or stores or whatever, that are business rivals with each other. Maybe they're on the same block and they're competing, or there are shops that sell the same thing, so they're also competing, and then a romance ensues from there. And so that's kind of where I got this idea. So I have a few recommendations. So if you want to see what they are, just keep watching. The first one I read probably a few years ago now, and that one is The Chocolate Kiss by Florand. And this one I know is a second in a series, but it can be read as a standalone. I didn't actually read the first one. I actually ended up picking this specific book up at the Dollar Tree and not knowing it was part of a series, and I enjoyed it. So anyways, this one is actually about Magali and her aunts who own like a quaint little shop that brews tea and sells tea and pastries. And they're known as like witches because they like little spells into their tea. And then the chocolates that they make, they're also known for like their chocolate. And so Magali is living has a shop, or has the shop with her aunts, and then she lives above. And so like she's kind of like made this place for herself, and so she's excited. But then she finds out that like a famous pastry chef, Felipe, is going to open one of his stores just a few doors down from her shop, her and her aunt's shop. And so she feels like it's gonna like steal all of her customers and kind of force her out of business. Felipe likes the street that it's on. It's like a quaint street that they have, and so he wants to open up one of his shops there. He doesn't want to drive them out of business, but after him and Magali meet, there's kind of like a feud that begins between them. And so like he's famous for macaroons, and he sends one to her as a peace offering. She like refuses to eat it, and like he just like doesn't understand why. And so it kind of goes from there. There's this whole like competition between them two, but of course there's this growing attraction, and it goes from there. I really liked this one. I think I gave it like a 4-star when I read it, and I thought it was a fun read. So definitely check it out. It definitely has the business rivals that turn to lovers. The next one I read more recently, and that one is Battle Royal by Lucy Parker. And so this one is, they already have shops on the same street. So Sylvie was a contestant on a baking show where Dominic was like the judge, and she ends up getting like kicked off at one point, but she was like the fan favorite. And so it kind of goes from there. They end up working together on the show. Like she comes in as a guest judge this new season, but they do have shops across the street from each other. He has like more of a traditional shop, has been around for years, and then hers is more of like a creative shop. It like has rainbows and it's colorful, and so they are like in competition with each other, like business. But then also there's an aspect where they're in competition of each other because they are both vying to like make the royal wedding cake, and so there's that aspect as well. And so it is kind of like rivals to lovers, enemies to lovers, business rivals, and it goes from there. I really did enjoy this one. I did give it a 4 when I read it. There is a lot of plot points in this one that had to wrap up at the end, so that's kind of why I knocked it down a star. But yeah, it was a good one, definitely. The next one I read during like the Halloween season in October, and that one is The Kiss Curse by Erin. This is the second one in a series, but again, it can be read as a standalone. There are some characters that you see from the first book in the second book, but you can still read it as a standalone. And so anyways, this one is about Gwen, who is like happy with her life in Graves Glen. She and her mom and her cousin are witches, and they all own a shop together. It's like a witchy shop that they own. and it's actually like it's successful in the town. And then so Wells Penhallow ends up coming back to the town. He was there years prior at like the college, and he's also, I believe, he's the brother of the character, the main male character in the first book, and so like there's that family connection there too. But he comes back to kind of start a shop and get the Penhallow name back into the town. And so he ends up opening a witchcraft shop right across the street from the one that Gwen and her family owns. And they are slightly different. And he wanted his more, like hers is kind of kitschy and he wanted his more traditional. And so he opens up a shop, and of course Gwen is like upset, like, because she's gonna lose business. And so of course they start off on the wrong foot, but then they think that like a magic spell is cast on them because they end up kissing, and so it goes from there. There definitely some banter in here. Like Gwen is like super annoyed that he's opening this shop and he's taking her customers, but then they end up having to like work together because something happens with Gwen's powers, and they're trying to figure out what that is. So this is definitely a business rivals with a little bit of witchcraft involved. And then the next one I have is, of course, Kiss My Cupcake by Helena Hunting. So this one is about Blair, and Blair is opening up a shop that is like has drinks, like fancy drinks and cupcakes. And then Ronan is reopening his shop. He's like, it was like his grandfather's shop, I believe, before, and he left it to them, or it was his grandfather's bar, and he's kind of like revamping it, and their opening nights are on the same night. And so like she thinks that, you know, he's going to take away from her business, and then during like construction things happen, and like some of her stuff gets broken because they're like hammering and nailing and like doing construction things, and so like she blames it on him. And so like it's a whole thing, but this one has good banter. I like there's like definitely some rivalry in here at the beginning, and then they kind of realize that maybe to keep business they have to team up together. And they kind of find like a bargain, like, okay, I'll do this on one night, you do this on one night, so we can bring in customers. And it goes from there. I really enjoyed this one. It is a hate to love, and it is like business rivals because they have shops right next to each other. It is really cute. I ended up giving it a 5-star. So the next one I have is Tweet Cute by Emma Lord. This one is a YA kind of like enemies to lovers romance, or rivals, business rivals. And it's so Pepper is part of like this fast food chain, and it's a big one that her family kind of owns. And so she kind of helps with their like online like Twitter account presence. And then you have Jack, whose parents own a mom and pop shop. Both of them are like have like grilled cheese aspect to it. I think the whole point is that Jack is on the Twitter account saying that Pepper's family or their business took the recipe from his shop, and now they're selling it commercially, and like so there's this rivalry between them. But they end up actually going to like the same school together and kind of knowing each other, and they start to realize that once, you know, these shenanigans on Twitter keep happening between them two. And so it kind of goes from there. And I did enjoy this one. I did think it was good. It definitely has like a family aspect to it. It has the rivalry, and then it has the romance. It definitely is a YA. I did think it was cute. I think I ended up giving it a 4-star when I read it. So those are all my business rivals suggestions that I have. Let me know if you have any recommendations. Leave them in the comments below. Like and subscribe if you'd like to. Bye.